Hi, welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. I haven't been on here for a while, and for that I apologize. Whenever we don't do what God wants us to do, at least with me, He gives me a kick in the butt, and I feel as if He has done so now. I've been just swamped with the books and other businesses and things like that for the last couple of months, and I've let this get away from me. Again, I apologize for that, but something came up today that made me realize that I need to get back at it and get back at it hard. Some of you may be familiar with or have heard of the College of the Ozarks. It's a wonderful Christian college down south of Branson on Table Rock Lake in southern Missouri. Excuse me, something's sending me a message here. Um, and it's where we want our kids to go. I've been a big fan of College of the Ozarks for 30, 35 years. It's older than that. It's 100 and some years old. It's called Hard Work University because students don't pay tuition to go there. They work. They have all sorts of programs there. They're famous for their fruitcakes. If you want to give somebody something extra good for Christmas, you can go on their website, I'm sure, and order a fruitcake. They're the best in the world and have them sent anywhere. They have a dairy farm. They have their own fire department. They make jams and jellies. They make their own flour, I think. They just have a wide assortment of jobs that the students can work at while they're in school that pays their tuition. Not only do they come out with one of the best educations you can get, but they come out without student debt. College of the Ozarks is founded on American Christian and fundamental basic family values and principles. And that's why we want our kids to go there when they're old enough. It's a very selective college. It's hard to get in. That's why we keep talking to the kids. Keep your grades up and do what you need to do. And actually, we're actually thinking. I said actually twice in the same sentence. I hate that, but we are considering moving down there as the kids get older, so that we'll be closer. But back to this. Something hit me today when I got on. It was a story from The Blaze. And I'm going to read this, and then I want to talk a little bit more. It's just another way that the enemy is attacking us. It's an evil. It is a disgusting, vile enemy. That it's the one that's trying to destroy our country and doing a pretty darn good job of it. So I want to read this. And this is one of those things we know all these things, all of we read about, we hear about what's happening in universities in California and back east and the Ivy League and the University of Chicago, all pretty much all the basic universities. We have one here, University of Kansas, about I don't know 40 miles west of where I am, called Moscow on the Kaw. It's about the most liberal one you can get. But when something hits close to home, like it did with the College of the Ozarks, I guess it gets my attention. So I'm going to read them. I'm going to just read this article from The Blaze. It says a federal judge this week rejected a Christian college's request to bypass new rules under the Biden administration that force religious schools to open their dormitories, including shared bedrooms and shower spaces, bathrooms, to members of the opposite sex. You know, 50 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to find a single person that would think that was a good idea, would even accept that, who wouldn't laugh at it. And now you're hard pressed to find too many people who will publicly speak up and say it's a rotten, stinking idea. I know we do. Judge Roseanne Ketchmark, I'm going to have to find out where she is, issued the ruling Wednesday denying the College of the Ozarks a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction which would have provided temporary protection for the school while its federal court case is pending. The school filed a lawsuit in April arguing that the Biden administration was forcing religious schools to violate their beliefs by opening up female dormitories to biological males and vice versa. Isn't that interesting that we even have to say biological males? Shouldn't it just be males? Under subject of punitive damages, six-figure fines, and attorney's fees. Let me scroll here. After President Joe Biden issued an executive order titled Preventing and Combating Discrimination on the Basis of Gender Identity or Sexual Orientation in January, the Department of Housing and Urban Development put forward a directive in line with the administration's new interpretation of, quote, sex. An interpretation of sex. I suppose, coming from the party that can't decide what the meaning of is, that's not surprising. The directive holds that entities covered by the Fair Housing Act cannot discriminate against someone based on their sexual orientation or gender identity, meaning that a transgender person who is biologically male but identifies as a female must be permitted to share dormitory spaces such as bedrooms, bathrooms, and showers with female students. And the other way around, everybody comes at it from that aspect. But the idea that most guys would want women in their shower areas either is hey, it's not assumed, right? The government cannot and should not force schools to open girls' dorms to males based on its politically motivated and inappropriate redefinition of sex. Alliance Defending Freedom Senior Counsel Julie Marie Blake said in a statement, the religious liberty firm is representing the school in its legal fight. Women should be forced to share private spaces, including showers and dorm rooms, with males, and religious schools shouldn't be punished simply because of their beliefs about marriage and biological sex, she added. Government overreach by the Biden administration continues to victimize women, girls, and people of faith by gutting their legal protections, and it must be stopped. Yes, it must be. That's true. I'm going to talk a little bit in the next one about how I think we can do that. The College of the Ozarks is a private Christian liberal arts college in Point Lookout, Missouri, and since its founding more than a century ago, has held to a belief that biological sex is assigned by God and is unchangeable. In response to the ruling, the school's president, Jerry Davis, acknowledged that he and staff were disappointed by the ruling, but announced that they would be appealing so that the schools are not forced to open women's dorm rooms to males and violate their religious beliefs. For more than 100 years, College of the Ozarks has provided a distinctly Christian education to students with financial need. We will not abandon our mission. The fight to protect our religious freedom has just begun, he said. Okay, like I said, that hit home with me because this is a college that we love and want to support and do support. I sat down with my kids. It's Saturday afternoon. They have things that they'd rather be doing than listen to Dad talk about politics. But they became very interested in this as I was talking about it. And I explained to them, as we have before, the danger of the messages that they are sent through media and their schools. And we talk, of course, as you can imagine, we talk a lot to our kids. We want to make sure that we know what's going on in their schools. And there are times that we've had to kind of correct some things that they've been taught. And we do. But so our kids are very, very tuned into this. But I wanted to take it a little bit farther with them, and I'm going to with you too, and read a few things out of the book. I think I may have before, I'm not sure, out of the book, The Naked Communist. This was written by Cleon Skousen, I think back in the 50s. And it lays out within it, so much. And I think I'm going to cover a lot of it in future videos here because it's something that I don't think most people are really familiar with. And if they were, I think that they'd have a more aggressive attitude in the defense of the values that we're trying to hold to, and offense against those attacks against our American values. So I want to read One of the things here was there were certain goals, I think 45, 47, 45. 45 goals that were set down by the American Communist Party back in the 50s or so. And many people aren't aware that the communist agenda started finding a foothold here in our country during the 20s, right after the 1917 Russian Revolution, and that communism took hold, and all through the 20s and 30s and 40s, well, till now. The communist agenda, there has been an active communist party here. They were able to grow quietly because most Americans didn't pay attention. They thought that the idea of communism was so stupid and so silly it would never catch on. It didn't need to be defended against because it wasn't really a threat. Well, because of that, because of the fact that most people didn't pay attention, it has gained its way. It has become a part of the American fabric without most people realizing it. Well, I'm just going to read a few of the 45 goals set down of the American Communist Party. The reason I'm going to do this is so that you can think about these things, share them with your friends, share this video with your friends, please, and realize that what we're seeing today is not just a social evolution of feelings. It's the culmination of active participation on the part of those people who want to fundamentally change our country, communists who want to change America, and they've done a heck of a job so far, right? I'm going to read a few of these. Capture one or both of the political parties in the United States. Well, can we argue that they haven't captured at least one and partially the other? Use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Get control of the schools. This is number 17. Get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. It certainly has been softened. Now it's nothing like when I went to school and probably when you went to school. Get control of teachers' associations. Put the party line in textbooks. The interesting thing now is that when the kids had textbooks, we would find things in there that we needed to address. Now they're not having textbooks. Now everything's online, and makes it a little bit harder. But we're still getting information from our kids about what goes on, and probably not everything. But I'll leave that at that. I think that's a good subject for another video. So I'll get back on this. Gain control of all student newspapers. Use number 19. Use student riots to foment public protests against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. BLM, Antifa, anyone? Infiltrate the press. Get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, and policy-making positions. Right. 21. Gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. 22. Continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was once told to, quote, eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings, substituting shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. I don't know what the art's like where you live, but if you drive around where I live, the art out here looks like something that fell out the back of a junk truck. Okay, and the cities spend thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars to put these shapeless, idiotic things up, and they're called art. And as I explained to the kids, all these things that they want to tear down, and now they want to tear down Mount Rushmore. You used to look at art and be inspired. It was heroic. It depicted the best of mankind, and now they just look like lumps of nothing, which is essentially what the powers that be want the people to be, lumps of nothing, and too many are becoming it. 23, control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. I think they've succeeded. 24, eliminate all laws concerning governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Well, that's right. So now we can look at pretty much anything except science that disagrees with the science that they want to call science. 25, break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Sure. Have you even seen some of the cartoons out there? 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. Now realize, this was from the communist. Okay? This isn't even me saying it. This is a communist goal. Okay? So they're saying they want to present homosexuality, degeneracy, this is their word, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. 27, infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with so-called social religion. Discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a religious crutch. Yeah, well, most of the pastors that I've known lately, I mean around here, I don't mean on social media or YouTube or anything. We just quit a church. I've quit every church I ever belonged to because of theological differences and the watering down of the scriptures. What they've done is, it's a sin, as most of you all understand. And now they build their big churches by being welcoming of all behavior. Not people, which Christ was, but of all behavior, which Christ wasn't. Eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. Well, I'm sure most of you understand that there's no so-called separation of church and state in our Constitution and our Declaration or anything, and that was a phrase used by Jefferson in a letter to the Danbury Baptist Church. Well, I'll leave it at that. Most of you know about that. If you aren't aware of that, go look it up. It will illuminate you. Religion, and specifically the Christian religion, has been foundational in our country. It was the basic of our country. The books that kids used to learn to read from was the Bible. This latest thing, well, we see that the communist agenda has been successful in removing religion from our schools. 29, discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations and a worldwide basis. 30, discredit the American founding fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. 31, belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the ground that it was only a minor part of the big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since the communists took over. Interesting. I'm going to skip through just a couple more. I'm not going to read them all to you, but infiltrate and gain control of more unions, discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. Well, haven't they been discredited? 37, infiltrate and gain control of big business. 38, transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies. That's being done all over the place. Everybody thinks that's crazy. This was put out in the 50s, and you see what's happening over in Oregon and Seattle, and it's happening right here in Kansas City now too. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders, which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. Discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. 41. emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents. Okay, I think that's enough right now. Many people think that we're beyond the point where anything can be done. I disagree. Many people, when I've said things before that we need to get more involved politically, have said that it's time to go beyond that, that the time for political action and influence is past. I disagree with that. The only way that we get this fixed is politically, but it's going to take more and more people, a lot more people, getting angry, getting up, being willing to do something more than complain to their family and their neighbors, what neighbors will listen. And it's going to take that. I guess it took the College of the Ozarks to get me riled up enough to get back to doing some of this, even though I'm very busy. I know you all are busy too. But if we don't, it's assured to go down the tubes. And I'm not at all, I have said that I think that America as we know it is over, but that doesn't mean that I think that there isn't a better future for those of us who will fight for it. Okay. A large portion of our society is, I believe, lost. There's no getting them back, but man, I am going to fight for the part that's still here that we can make something of. And I hope you will too. People that want to get on here and make comments that it's over, and that nothing can be done, that's not helpful. If you don't want to do anything, don't think anything can be done, fine, don't do anything. Okay. Don't help row the boat. Don't help try to right the ship. Just go ahead and complain about nothing can be done, and feel good in your pessimism, and I suppose. Okay. But if you feel something can be done, then do more. Do more. I intend to do more. I was gonna include it in this something that's kind of a challenge. What I think can be done, what needs to be done. This has already gone too long, so I'll make another one about that in the next day or so. But I hope that you'll spread this around, send this around to your friends. I hope you'll think about it. I hope that you'll comment about it. Please, nobody, don't say anything about the need for force or revolution or anything. That's not what this is about. If this doesn't get fixed politically, then something else, a horrible something else, would be the only thing down the road. But those of us who love our children, love our grandchildren, love our lives, love what our forebearers built in this country for us, we need to try to save this and build it back. And if that means, and we have to fight. And the way that we fight now is politically, and it's going to take a lot. So, if you'll share this with your friends, I'd appreciate it. Please comment, talk about this, give your ideas, give your experiences, share that. It helps not only you being able to express yourself, but it helps other people hearing your story as well. So please put those down. And what I remember that I say at the end of these is that America needs a reverting back to the way that it was and was supposed to be. And it needs you to be a part of it. So I hope that you will be. And I'll talk to you next time.